And we're live. So, this was requested many, many times in one of my lives. And hello, everybody. So, this is me just kind of like coming here to be here for the few people that come into my lives. I mean, not few, there's usually about, on a in a good game, like, we have, like, 1,500 people joining, and lately, it has not been that, it's been a lot less. Especially after Caitlin announced that she's pretty much, like, dipped out for the season, but, there have been a bunch of requests for me to do this Q&A with you guys, and so I considered making it members only, but because I'm so inept at assigning the memberships and some of the people that I know that come into my lives aren't members, I thought I know that the people that request this will be here. So this is just me being here, talking to the chat. We can talk basketball. You guys can ask me questions and honestly, anything you want. But maybe we should give a few minutes to, oh, Chicago Cheetah's here. Chicago Cheetah is a name I've seen around a lot. I don't see you in my content much, which of course I know that I think that you might be a Sky fan, but I've seen you on different platforms. I've seen you around Chicago Cheetah. And of course, Frank, how you doing? Tulip is in the house. We got us some Mike Hall. All right. We have some people watching now. I'm just waiting a few minutes. I'm going through the WNBA advanced stats right now, and some of these stats are actually very interesting because I got a comment on my video that made me look up the three-pointers of the Indiana Fever because he had mentioned that all that they talk about is defense, defense, defense. And I seem to feel like, by the way that I watch the games, that, and especially lately, they've been really upping their three-point game. So I thought I'd check. And a lot of it actually is what I thought. I always talk about how the Golden State Valkyries just chuck three-pointers. They shoot the rock from beyond the arc more than any team in the league, actually. And according to the WNBA advanced stats, the Golden State Valkyries are number 1 at three-pointers attempted. They are also number 1 at three-pointers made. But check this out. Their three-point percentage, which means the clip that they actually land their shots, is way down at the bottom at number 11. But the fact that they shoot so many, that they are number 1 in three-pointers actually made, kind of says just throw it. Like, that's what they do. They chuck, 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 chuck. Anyway, all right, we have some people in here now. So I will be taking anybody's questions. I think I saw somebody say, what are the chances of CC joining LeBron's new international league? This is a very interesting question because that is something I actually didn't think about until it was posed right here, because I think that in order for Caitlin to come into the league in prime shape next season, I'm of the opinion that she should probably play somewhere. I don't care where it is. I know this is like the most unpopular opinion, and I'm so sorry for everybody that hates Unrivaled, but the fact that Unrivaled is in the United States, the fact that I don't think it's possible for Caitlin to play international for that long, because she probably has a whole bunch of commitments that I'm sure she'd move around, if she did go play for LeBron's league. But the only reason I do think Unrivaled is because basically the players wouldn't shut up about how great the facilities are. So we know that that's great. They work around everyone's schedule. Like, they worked around Sabrina's schedule. She missed a lot of games. They take people out if they're even have the slightest like nagging injury. So a lot of people did go out for a lot of Unrivaled, but they weren't injured. They just kept them out. I know this because I covered it, and all this stuff. But so that's why I said unrivaled. But this is a great question. What the chances of joining LeBron's international league? Now, the only reason I think this might be because I think that this would be actually a great place for Caitlin to go play. I think that because LeBron is backing it, it would probably have, I think some Saudis might be backing it too, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Wait, Seagazer says LeBron's international league will not be a thing. EuroLeague has an established and strong hold in Europe. You cannot start something in new and challenge them right away. Not going to happen. Yeah, I don't know the specifics. And as far as like this offseason goes, I don't think that it would be happening. But because Caitlin Clark's injury was an acute injury, and after I talked to a sports physician from the Hospital for Special Surgery, we weren't talking specifically about Caitlin, but we were talking about the types of injuries that basketball players get, especially women. And in the beginning of the season, you get more those acute injuries happen when you're not in like full game shape. So we actually had a great conversation and I learned so much. And I used to date a physician, so I kind of got the lingo pretty well. And she was saying things that made a lot of sense. And it sounded like it would be really good if Caitlin played something. If she just got, 12 people together and they played something, I think that would help for any sort of like going into the W with any injuries and stuff, because the way that she has to play, she has to literally like hit the ground running because I don't think that there's anybody that's covered like her in the WNBA, you know? Anyway, missing Buck. Who's your favorite NBA player? I mean, okay, if we're talking about past, I'm so sorry to sound like everybody else, but Michael Jordan. I have his jersey. I have a actual vintage Michael Jordan jersey. And the thing that he did for the NBA, the things that he was able to do for the Chicago Bulls and the culture that he created is unparalleled. And I was rewatching The Last Dance, and I think I've watched that now like 3 times. It's the Michael Jordan documentary. Okay. Any other questions we got here? I know that Frank actually is one of the people that definitely requested this. So Frank, if you have any questions, shoot. Missing Buck says, Michael Jordan, I can't argue. That's the GOAT. Mine will always be the late Kobe Bryant. You know what? I lived in LA. I kind of grew up in Southern California, so I definitely get that. He was an icon there. What's your dream WNBA commentary job? Wow. Okay. My dream WNBA commentary job. Well, I feel like the way that commentary and the way that media is going, I really like what I'm doing now because it gives me the freedom to say what I want. I also write for Women's Fast Break on SI, and I also write for the Indiana Fever on SI. So I do have like a step into the world of asking for media credentials, and I can do that. And so that's actually really nice. But having my own platform gives me the freedom to pretty much say like what I want, and I can have an opinion, and I can have a favorite team, and I can have a favorite player. And I'm not like legacy media or anything like that, but it would definitely be good to partner with some people and to be able to have guests on like once a week. That's what I want. Is the goal that I want to be work towards more, is to have some players on once a week and to be able to, you know, talk to them. And I feel like when I speak to people, I can be very relatable. Like when I talked to Jamie Hole, that's Lexi Hole's mom, it was like talking to a friend almost. I really enjoyed it. So yeah. James Fender says, I forgot my question. What? All right, Frank. I wanted to say I think the Valks are the best team, while all other teams have individual stars, but not a team. Do you agree? I you know what? I think they are one of the best teams, but I feel like after the Lynx because and I know this also might be, kind of cliche, but the way that the Lynx move the ball as a team, as a unit, the way that so many of them are big on three-point shooting and help each other out, I really think the Lynx, are a really good unit, and I have to give credit to Cheryl Reeve for that, but no team has surprised me more than the Golden State Valkyries this season, and I have become the biggest Valkyries fan because they are the underdog. They are like the team that everyone wants to root for because this team has 0 stars. 0. No superstars on it. I remember Temi Fagbenle saying, "We're a team made up of 6th women." And where they got is I look, again, let me just look at these advanced stats because I will repeat, the Golden State Valkyries are number 1 in three-pointers made, number 1 in three-pointers attempted. Again, they don't shoot them at a high clip. They're number 11 at their three-point percentages. Wow. They are at the very bottom at field goals attempted. That is crazy considering they're three-pointers, and they're the very bottom at field goals made, and they're at the very bottom at field goal percentage. This is so bananas. Okay. Alright, let me go through some of these. James, you remember. Okay. Yeah, and if you guys have super chats, those stick out to me, so I won't miss your questions. Okay, I remember. What time is the Fever game? Oh, tonight? 7:30. Are you gonna be here? And it's 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. So depending on where you are in the world, I don't know where you are, James, but just apply 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Mike, are you feeling any better, Mike? Mike goes into my comments all the time, and I've been noticing Mike just get kind of bummed out lately. I feel like we've all kind of any Fever fan has been a little bummed out lately, but I'm feeling good again. Rosie, what do you think the cause of Caitlin Clark's groin injury? Thank you for asking me this because I do think that there is a cause. And after discussing injuries at length with a bunch of different specialists, what she had was a quad injury, and her second injury was I don't remember if the first one was a quad strain, but I don't think that they needed to classify it, but the second one was classified as a quad strain, and a strain is an acute injury, and acute injuries generally happen when early in the season. They acute injuries don't generally happen later in the season. Like your acute injuries would be like your ACL tears, which makes sense as to how Nika Mule tore her ACL when she was overseas because she hadn't played in a while and she immediately tore her ACL. Jordan Horston, right when Unlimited started, she tore her ACL. So it's when you haven't played for a while and you start playing again, your body isn't used to the explosive energy. It doesn't matter if you work out every day, it doesn't matter if you go running. There is no comparison to being in a game, in an actual game, and having that sort of shape. And that is the reason that I think that it would be good if Caitlin got into some sort of competitive game environment before she goes into the W season, especially because she's Caitlin Clark, and especially because she people go harder on her than any other player. Wallace Boss is up in here. Says, "Have you always been a monster statistician? Were you a were you a bucket in high school?" I played pretty much every sport in high school. I loved being outside. I I remember my dad made me I don't have this problem now, but My dad made me wear a dress to a wedding, and I hated it because all I wanted to do was play sports, and I didn't think that, if you can't play sports in a dress, I didn't wanna wear it. But, then I hit my teens. And as far as being a monster statistician, I think anybody who cares enough can be that type of person because I am slow at math. I am slow at reading. I read slowly too. I'm really good at understanding things in an intuitive way. Like I'll watch the game and I can get like the idea more than a stats way, you know what I'm saying? Because like you'll see like the pace, like you'll see somebody like who is the Indiana Fever are number 5 in pace in the entire league, but does it feel like they're fast, you know? And sometimes those stats aren't exactly equal because what it's like the way that they measure pace isn't exactly the way that you want to watch pacing in a game. But yeah, I do spend a lot of time looking at stats and I think that just because I do, it makes me more, like, well-versed, I guess? I don't know. Oh, of course, Brian Nichols comes in with the super sticker. Says, "Fun time watching the live chats. Hit the like and subscribe." Actually, would you guys mind hitting the like button? Because that does help the algorithm. It tells YouTube that y'all like what's going on, and then they end up pushing my content out to more people. Okay, I'm looking for more questions. Aw, somebody said, "Rosie, you're the best." Thank you so much. Well, you guys are the best for being here. Okay, this is a great one. Rosie, who do you think the Fever will sign for 2026 of the former players? Okay, this is there's one player that I think I could see going somewhere else, and it's not who I want to go somewhere else. And a lot of people like this player. So you gotta just listen logically. But I think that they're gonna keep Caitlin Clark, duh. Aaliyah Boston, duh. Um, I do think that they're gonna bring Sophie Cunningham back. Lexi's the one that I'm wondering about. Lexi's the one that I can see like if they found somebody that were a 3 and D spot up wing that was as nasty on defense as she is, and she also is a restricted free agent next season, she's gonna probably get some offers. I can see Lexi being somebody a surprise player that doesn't come back, but I think that she will come back. But this is me just saying that I think that she might not. I really would love if Ari came back as a backup point guard because she has proven to be really good two-way. She has the ability to shoot it from beyond the arc. She also can like, you know, bully in through the paint. Little 5'6" Ari can do that. And if any sort of off ball were to work, there has to be the right player, and I think that Ari could be that player. Wayne G, thanks for the super sticker. Appreciate it. See, I knew this. Heck no, CC will not allow Lex to leave. I know, believe me, I know. I feel this, but when I think about consistency, she's the one out of all of them that I wonder about. I think that they will bring KK back because she is on a rookie scale contract, but, um, if it were between KK and Ari, I don't know which one because KK has a higher ceiling, but I think she needs a little more time to develop, because she looks lost a lot when she's out on the court, and I think she makes some great blocks. I think she's a pretty good rim defender, but I think she has tunnel vision when she offensively. I think she needs to learn about her surroundings. Like it's gonna take a lot of like, honing and stuff. So I wonder if they'll keep Aerie over KK sometimes. My friend is trying to I don't know if you guys know Michael, but he's trying to convince me that it's not gonna be KK because when we talk about who we think that the Indiana Fever are gonna keep, I immediately was like, "Oh, well, they're gonna keep KK. She's on a rookie scale contract. The cap space is gonna go up. This is gonna help them with, like, salary cap, like, being able to afford more players." And he is talking me out of that almost weirdly. He's making me, like, think about it now, actually. Oh, James Fender. What do you think of Rudy always causing and complaining about players like he was their dad? Personally, I'm sick of his mouth. Wait, who's Rudy? Who are you talking about? Rudy. Can you guys help me out? Who's Rudy? Okay, Tulip, remind me to come back to this because I really want to answer this question, but I need to give you some time, James, to let me know who Rudy is. Okay. Wayne, I see you around a lot. Rosie, is it possible for CC to play in Europe for a few months prior to the season start next year? I think anything is possible, and I think especially because it's Caitlin Clark, there would be a lot of accommodations made. I think that she does have a lot of she did have a lot of off-season commitments last season. I think that they're gonna be thinking about her strength and conditioning, going into the next season, like, very differently in this offseason than they did in last season because, obviously, her body did not react well to going into this season? So I think they're rethinking about things. But, like, listen, Jordan missed almost his entire 2nd season of his career too. She's actually on a lot of parallels with Michael Jordan, and that's why I rewatched, The Last Dance because I remember this. But, I do think again, I'm such a proponent of Caitlin doing some sort of competitive basketball for at least a few weeks before the WNBA season. And it is possible for her to go over to Europe, but again, she is a big family person. She talks about it all the time. Like, she turned down going to Notre Dame. One of the reasons she said is because she just wanted to be, closer to family. She had a feeling about Iowa, something about Lisa Bluter, that, like, clicked with them. So, yeah, she might want to stay stateside. And, that and combine that with, like, all of the engagements that she's probably gonna have to do for Nike, that she's probably gonna have to do in speaking engagements, like, she's becoming like a boss lady, like a baddie, so she's gonna have to, do all these engagements in the off season. Alright, did James who's Rudy R You know what? Why am I not I have to look this up. Rudy Oh, wait. This is a podcast. Oh, I don't watch this person. It's very hard for me to watch other content. Did he say something specific? Wait, let me look at your last okay. What do you think of Rudy always cussing and complaining about the players like he was their dad? Personally, I'm sick of his mouth. Oh, well, I am not the biggest fan of complaining about everybody. I think that there are times when you can complain about people okay, like the Angel thing, everybody has a different opinion about whether Angel Reese should or should not have said what she said about the Chicago Sky, and a lot of people have different views about what she was saying about her teammates. Some people think that it was taken out of context. Some people think that there's no way it can be taken out of context. Some people think that it's on the Chicago Sky PR team. So in those types of situations, like, I have an opinion, and I won't write about it. I will come on my podcast to talk about it. But I don't I'm just like I'm not a big fan of cussing a lot. I cuss sometimes, especially in games, and I'm sorry, I do cuss in games because it's just sometimes it brings out that, like, carnal feeling. Have I seen the Come On Now podcast? Is that with the 2 women? Because I have seen that one, and I think it's the Come On Now podcast. Rudy Rants. You're better off. Is this because I don't watch Rudy Rants? It's hard as a content creator to watch other content creators. You just don't have enough time. He's a negative YouTuber. Yeah, forget all that, man. I'm here to talk about mostly to talk about, like, what's going on. Sometimes it's not that great what's going on, so you have to talk about it. This is interesting. Rosie, do you think the commissioner will be fired before the 2026 season? Um, I don't. I don't think that because they the bottom line is growing. The biggest complaint is the officiating. Am I right or am I not right? I think the officiating sucks. I think that that is one thing they need to get better training. They need to get a training system in place to train the refs better and get more competency because they are high. I saw a LinkedIn post and they were hiring referees. They ended up hiring like a middle school basketball coach referee, and that is just kind of embarrassing for the WNBA. Like we should have something a little more top tier, but the problem is that whenever there is a good referee, the NBA like snags them right up. And it's unfortunate, but if you are a referee in the WNBA, you probably wanna be on an NBA court instead, and if you're any good, you're stolen, you're taken. But, I think the officiating is something that definitely, definitely, definitely is on the commissioner's mind a lot, and I think that and I hope that they develop, like, a better system of training for these referees, and I don't see her being fired this year, but I do think that this could be her last year to get it together. Just because, like, the WNBA was flipped on its head last season. I don't think anybody anticipated it. I think they knew that it was gonna grow a little bit, but I don't think anybody anticipated the, like, 180-degree, like, catapult into the stratosphere that the WNBA, like, spotlight would be under, and I don't think that the WNBA was ready. Lumbra. In your last stream, you said that even in the US, lots of people are questioning how the schedule of American sports leagues are built. Um, I definitely mentioned the scheduling of this season because they they ended up extending from 40 games to 44 for this season. And it was not that they are playing more games, it's how the games were scheduled out that was really has no rhyme or reason. It's like they just put it into like some sort of like AI bot and generated all these dates for these teams because um sometimes sometimes teams would play 4, 5 games in 8 days and then sometimes they would have, like, a week off. So, when you're playing that many games in that short of a time span, it is really hard on your body, and there were a lot of injuries really fast this season. So, I think that there needs to be a lot more consideration for all of the teams. I think there needs to be more consideration for also, like, I don't know why every game is at the same time every day. But that's something I don't know about. I think that has a lot to do with, like, the availability of network timings and things like that. A lot of things I don't really know about, but as far as, like, scheduling out the games, like, they need to really sit down and do a little better. Wallace Boss. I think Cece strained herself off season, fell out of alignment when she added muscle, not just weight. I indeed injured myself working out too hard. You know, I asked about that. I asked actually, I'm gonna keep this up just so you guys know what the question is. I specifically asked about putting on weight to the to a sports physician who is also a sports surgeon who also worked for the Liberty and was a former basketball player herself. And her commentary was that she didn't put on enough weight to make that big of a difference. And she herself said that the way that Caitlyn is covered, putting on that amount of weight probably helped her than hurt her. So there's a lot of things that I know that a lot of people say. And you know what? I also think that she probably was working her legs out like to an extreme level to where when she did go into an in-game competitive style environment, she got the acute injury. And it could totally be related to how much she was working out. As far as like putting on too much muscle, that argument has been negated from the people that I spoke to. And that's just what this person from this sports physician like hospital told me. Will CC go barnstorm? Oh my god, you're so funny. This is like okay, this barnstorming thing came up from our last live and I don't know. I think that from what I've read about LeBron's new league, they are looking to do an international league like F1 style. And I don't know if they mean like going into different cities and playing in different cities all over Europe, because that's what F1 does, you know? Um, and if she ends up joining LeBron's international league at any point, I could see her going barnstorming. Rosie, other than some people subjectively not liking her, what's stopping Asia from being the GOAT? Um, for me, it's nothing. I've watched a lot of WNBA all my life, and she's the best I've seen, and I'm no Aces fan. There's no denying how good Asia Wilson is. Like, there truly, truly isn't. No matter if you like her personally or not, if you watch her on the court, she is just so dominant. The only thing that I have to say about Asia is that, and this is the difference between Asia and Fee, is Fee has a lot more in her bag. Like she has a perimeter game where Asia doesn't, but at the same time, like Asia is just so dominant under the basket. So it's really hard. It's at that for me, the Fee Asia conversation is a really hard one because they're both so freaking good. Like it's hard to pick one over the other, you know, but you know what, Tulip? You're right. And you know, a lot of the younger people that like the WNBA and a lot of old WNBA fans, you know, they always say that Asia is their GOAT. Randy. All right, the WNBA and commissioner played their cards by looking for more rivals for Cece, allowing them to beat her up. They forgot about the fact her being out isn't good. Yeah, I think okay. This whole rivalry week thing, I think that they definitely played into this whole idea of rivalry a lot. And I think that there's no way to really, really know what is going on like in the minds of the WNBA commissioners or anything like that, or if they do or don't want her beat up. I think that allowing that much physicality on her is insane because but this is before she got injured. I used to be terrified of Caitlin Clark getting injured because I knew that the intrigue like that people had for the WNBA would dip significantly if she was out, and it did. Um, but sorry, I have to read this again. But sometimes I think that the WNBA looks at a lot of the physicality and like the chippiness on the court as kind of like good TV and entertaining TV. And I've noticed from you guys commenting in my comments, and I read a lot of your comments because for me, it's really good to know how you think and how you're feeling. Sometimes I don't have time to read them all, but I do often look at them. But I've noticed that people seeing the league being so physical is not attractive. and it's not like a fun reality TV thing. And I do think that there is a lot of physicality that is allowed in the league, and I think it's especially, and, I hate to sound like a Caitlin Clark, like, stan or anything, but especially on Caitlin, I think it's too much. I really, really do. Alright, who else do we have here? I'm looking for question marks. This isn't WWE. Do you know that Sophie Cunningham was asked to take part in WWE? So funny. Okay, I see it. Are you being facetious? I said I'm looking for question marks, and Mike just puts up a question mark. Ooh, this is actually a team that I do not see Angel Reese fitting on. They already had so many bigs that they traded Aaliyah Edwards. I think that 2 teams that I cannot see Angel Reese on are the Fever and the Mystics because of her position and because she doesn't fit with what she can do. It would be crazy to see Angel and CC play together, but I don't think that a trade to the Mystics that's one of the teams I've ruled out. And it doesn't seem like Kurt Miller is hiding his desire for Angel Reese very well, because there was a Dallas publication that put out that um I think they said it was a general manager, that a WNBA general manager said that it's crazy that the Chicago Sky are trading Angel Reese that the way that they are, and it was put out by a Dallas publication, so it was obviously Kurt Miller. So I think he's trying to court Angel. Brian Nichols. Do you think there will be a government investigation of the WNBA for lacking transparency and player safety, reporting injuries, and interfering with the Sun sale? The interfering with the Sun sale is not cool. Like, I do see the WNBA kind of catering to the very, very rich NBA owned uh teams, and they're trying to shaft the Connecticut Sun out of a sale. It's actually their team. They should be allowed to sell it to whoever they want to sell it to within, reason. And I think that the WNBA is trying to strong arm them into selling to who they want them to sell it to. And I don't think that they want to keep the team in Connecticut, but the Connecticut Sun do want to keep the team, or the Connecticut everybody in Connecticut wants to keep the team in Connecticut. Um, how old is Hugo? He's 3. But yeah, I think that this is like a weird not I don't think this is very cool of the WNBA. I don't know. A lot of people think that before the WNBA got very popular, that the NBA were hiding like dirty assets in the WNBA, and that's why the WNBA won't open their books. Like, the NBA opens their books, other sports leagues open their books, but the WNBA is very cagey about their books. Louis 71. What do you think about Senator Blumenthal maybe big footing the WNBA in regards to the Suns' sale and move? I mean, I think that they're taking a really strong stand in not being strong-armed, and the fact that they would even put this out into existence, it may or may not actually happen. But I think that they want the WNBA to understand that they're serious and they're not gonna be bullied by the, billionaire owners of the league that have control of most of the teams. And now that the WNBA is actually going to be turning a profit, they want control of all of them. So I think there's like one, hey Tulip, you probably know this. There's one other team that is an independently owned team. I can't remember which one it is, but the Connecticut Sun is one of the only independently owned teams, and they actually saved the Comets from the or no, was it the Comets? They there was a team that was gonna like go out of business, and the Connecticut Sun swooped in and bought it and saved the team, moved it to Connecticut. They obviously cannot keep up with the facilities, so they decided to sell, which is good because if you can't keep up and give your players like top tier facilities, then sell it to someone who can. But there was one point where they did actually do very good stuff for the league. Okay, what do we got going on? Man, we've been on live for 40 minutes. I was only gonna make this like a 30-minute live. I will be going live again for the last Indiana Fever game of the season. They're playing the Minnesota Lynx. Nafisa Collier will not be playing, which is kind of a surprise because this is her last like chance to prove that she's worthy of the MVP, but I think since they got beat by the Aces, who are on a crazy win streak, 14-game win streak, it is like tied for the fourth longest win streak in the WNBA history. But because of that, I think that Nafisa Collier she might have relented the MVP to Asia Wilson because she got outplayed in that game. And she's choosing championship over MVP. Yes, Hugo is the mighty one. I don't know if there's many people that do join my game lives, but I need to introduce you to Hugo. This is Hugo. Whenever I introduce him, I like to give a little stats on him. He is a big fan of Aaliyah Boston. He always chants "bow wow wow" instead of "bow bow bow." And he watches every game with me. And whenever we need some luck, I just bring him up here. We do halftime Hugo, and then I stop torturing him and I let him go back to his bed. Anyway, this is Hugo. He needs a haircut. I want Reese to stay on a bad team. Oh man. Howard was not a good fit for the Fever. This is an interesting conversation for me because in the beginning of the season, it was very hard for me to see Howard on the Indiana Fever, but she actually ended up really carrying the team defensively or for a while. I did not get to see her actually develop any chemistry with Caitlin Clark though, and that is my main concern with Natasha Howard. But I don't think she was given enough time to either, so I can't write her off, but if I were picking someone to bring back for next season, she would not be on my list. Brian Nichols, you are probably one of the most generous people of everybody. Also, Christina. Where's Christina? She's not even in the chat. She's probably working though. She's going to be sad she missed the live. All right, I'm looking for question marks now. Anybody who has a question. It was her sophomore year at Iowa. That's when I first saw Caitlin Clark. And when I watched her for the first time, it was like injecting drugs into my veins. Sorry to be so crude about it, but I've never become so like obsessed with a player so quickly. She just did it for me. And and I live in New York, and just so you guys know, I used to go to Liberty games. I was a fan. Once Caitlin came into the WNBA, I followed her because nobody ever made me look at the game the way that she did. I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot, but it wasn't like this it wasn't the same experience as it was after Caitlin started playing. Who would you ever collab with? Would you ever collab with Rachel Demita? Yeah, I actually talked to her and I invited her to come on after the game show, after the live game streams. And she was totally down with it because somebody actually in my chat had mentioned that she wanted to come in because We had Robin Lundberg, we had Mick, and Venom, and these are just like impromptu like conversations that we would have after a game, and it was really fun actually. So she would be down to join one of those. I don't really know if it's going to happen because I don't know if we're going to have another one of those again. And I don't know if I want to plan it, but I think it would be great to collaborate with her at one point. I like her level headedness. I like the way that she kind of sees the game. She calls things out, but she doesn't get too like crazy about these ideas and angry. Okay. Questions. Rosie, what are your two favorite sports that I play or that I watch? Um, oh man, you guys, like I go through phases of so many sports. Like I was really into bull riding, but if you ask me who a bull rider is today, I wouldn't even be able to tell you. Um, I got really into F1, uh, Hamilton. But I do think Ferrari is my favorite like team. Um, I've been getting back into NFL this season. I used to be a huge Saints fan, and I stopped watching about 5 years ago. And this season, I was like, okay, I'm really pumped for the NFL to start back up, but I just can't be a Saints fan again. I just can't. It's too hard. It's too all my life because I was born in New Orleans. Like I had this like, die hard Saints mentality, but it's too hard to be a Saints fan. So, I'm shopping around. I'm kind of thinking I'm kind of thinking the Packers or the 49ers. Brian Nichols. Who is your double membership wait, who is your double membership pick for tonight for the Fever? Oh, okay, okay, okay. We're playing the Lynx, so would it be AB or Natasha Howard? Who's gonna be on AB? Will it be Alana Smith? Because man, Alana Smith, I feel like she could be talked about for defensive player of the year. Because if it's Alana Smith that's on AB, but if it's Fee on AB, all right, I'm gonna pick AB. I'm just gonna go with AB, even though I think that Natasha Howard has she had more double doubles than AB? Man, I have to look that up. Lumbra says, "What would you change in the W as a commissioner? Except the obvious ones: roster size, refereeing, and scheduling." Oh my god, you picked everything. Well, all the things we already talked about. Well, we didn't talk about roster sizes, and that is something I would 100% change too. Um, okay, let me put my microphone up a little bit. Okay, what would I change in the WNBA? The challenges. I think that you should be able, if you win a challenge, you shouldn't lose your challenges. I would change that. Um, the officiating is 1000% number one. The roster sizes are probably tied for number one, actually. But yeah, I feel like when you lose your challenge and you're right, why is your challenge taken away? Like, I don't get it. Oh, are you guys oh, you guys are trying to get me to go Packs, go 49ers? Hey, hey, spam who you like in the comments for the NFL. Who should I go for? I don't know. I'm thinking the Packers or the 49ers. That Jacobs guy? Okay. Again. Okay, let's see. So Chicago tries to trade Reese, which is very likely. Who might be interested and what might the Sky's asking price be? I think they would definitely ask for a first round draft pick for Angel Reese because they have none. They sold their future for Ariel Atkins and their win now mentality team this season, which I think they should replace the GM Jeff Pagliocca. I think that the Chicago Sky also probably realized that Angel Reese is more important to the Sky at like with her brand name and what she like brings to the team and the league and the and revenue wise than Jeff Pagliocca. And also Jeff Pagliocca kind of like sucked this season at putting the team together. So I think that if it came down to it, which I don't know that a trade is actually likely. I think that a trade is definitely in the air. She could request a trade, and if she does request a trade and the Chicago Sky end up keeping her, it could be like a very faux pas, like hostagey situation where you're keeping a player against their will. And it does happen. They did that to Elena Deladon, but the Washington Mystics did, but she just decided to not play. So if she asks for a trade, if she requests for a trade, they will probably try to work something out, but she is very valuable to that team, and I think that the, higher ups, higher than Jeff Pagliocca would rather get rid of him than Angel. But I think Kurt Miller will do anything to get her. I think Dallas is a team. Hard being a Saints fan, try bringing oh, that's so true. Are you a Browns fan? Hey, but you don't you guys have a what's his name? Oh my god, not Deshaun. You know who I'm talking about. What's his name's son? I'm blanking. Goodness. Hang on. I want to see the chat better. What is your favorite NBA team? I watch the NBA casually. Um, but I can't lie because I lived in LA when I would go to games and it was the Lakers and I tend to root for the Lakers more often than not. So, but I watch the NBA in more of like a I like to see everybody do good kind of way. Like with the WNBA, I definitely have a team. But I also love watching all the games too. Brian says, "Who or what teams or sports will fill in during the Fever off season?" I mean, here's the thing. The way that the YouTube algorithm works, even if I make a video about a different team, like if I make a video one time I made a video about Angel Reese and it didn't have any Fever content, didn't have any Caitlyn content, and it didn't know who to push my video to. And then after that, like I started making, more Indiana Fever videos because this is an Indiana Fever centric channel. But I realized that YouTube wasn't pushing those videos out because the algorithm kind of got like mixed up. So if I all of a sudden go from the Fever to the NFL, which is something I was considering doing because I do like watching it. I do not know enough about the NFL though, like I do about the WNBA. Like it would just be one of those like fun commentary things. But I was considering cuz I got offered an editing job recently for a couple of months for to be on retainer. And man, I don't know, it's weird. The way that, everything dipped with Caitlin Clark, it's, it to make this your full-time job, it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot going on. And I'm kind of I'm trying to figure it out. I really am. Rosie, who do you root for in the NBA? The Lakers. Oh, you guys want Chargers, Eagles, Chiefs, 49ers all day. I don't know, there's something about the 49ers that I like. Oh, I watched the Bears game last night. The Bears. That was crazy how they lost. I did not see that happening. Hey, I was just thinking about you, Peggy. I was actually gonna see how you were doing. All right, I'm looking for question marks. Asia is the goat just because she looks like one. Oh my god, that's harsh. Sanders, that's it. Sanders, Deion Sanders kid. Wow, I am so far ab Oh, Peggy, you're so sweet. Rudy is from Come On Now podcast. He yells at chat. He does? Man, that is so not my style. Peggy knows me. I am, like, not a yeller. I went on a walk today with my neighbor, and we were talking about anime today, and I was actually asking him, "What is the deal? Like, why do people like it so much?" I feel the way about anime that I feel about WWE, like, I just don't get it. Like, I've tried, and I don't get it. Eagles could go back to back. Interesting. The Eagles were one that I was kind of thinking about too. But I feel like everybody's a Chiefs fan, so that I would be such a bandwagoner if I chose the Chiefs. Welcome to the memberships, Pat McCarty or McCaddy, Marvin Carlos. Any news if the Sun will still move to Boston? It's been a while. So, okay, that's interesting because the Sun, the Boston, the one of the minority owners of the Boston Celtics, did put a $300 million bid into to own the Connecticut Sun, and they put out some press basically stating, "Oh, this is a done deal. Yep, we're gonna bid for it." But it wasn't a done deal to the Connecticut team, and the Connecticut team had other investors that were from Connecticut who also matched that 300 or $350 million deal, and so that would have made them happier because they wanted to keep the team in Connecticut. So that was submitted over to the WNBA commissioner, Kathy Engelbert. She let that expire instead of submitting that to the WNBA board of governors. It was basically like left on her desk, and she like casually let the whole bid expire before presenting it. So a lot of people are feeling that that is how that the WNBA is strong arming the Connecticut Sun. They don't know why she didn't present the bid to the WNBA board of governors, and they tried to come back with a $250 million deal, which which ended up coming back at $75 million less that than, they would have gotten from the other deal. So wait, it must have been a $325 million deal. Yeah. Anyway, there's not news. It's not progressed that it is going to Boston. I know that the owners of the Connecticut Sun want to keep it in the Connecticut Sun. That's the ideal state, but I know that a lot of people do want to move it to Boston, but I think that the WNBA really wants to move a team to another city like Houston. So that's all I know. Miss Chief actually says, "I'm sick of the Chiefs." Where did you get your name? That is hysterical. Oh, you know what? Everybody talks about this. Rosie, you should check out Princess Mononoke. It's a great movie to get into anime. Yeah, I everybody does talk about this one. I should check it out. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. Brian again with the super sticker. I swear to God, you're paying my rent this month. Rosalina yells with her chat, not with her chat, not at her chat. That's true. I definitely get a little chippy during games, but like, I don't know. I'm one of those people that I usually, if I'm sitting on a sofa, I'll stand up when something happens. But because I've started going live with you guys when I watch The Fever, I don't stand up anymore. I had to break myself of that habit. Rosie, if we could time travel, which year would we visit first? Man, the 20s seemed like a really fun time. I wouldn't go that far back because of medicine, and if you just, like, hurt your knee, you'd basically become a cripple for your whole life, but the 20s seemed like a really fun time. The 70s seemed like a really fun time. Um, because the economy was still good, like, back in you had the boomer parents or the boomers that, could live off of, like, one income household, and there was a lot of fun stuff going on in the '70s, the NBA was going on. Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably say the '20s, though. The roaring '20s. Oh, I gotta catch up to you guys. The '20s had probation. Yeah, but you could always go around that. 'Cause, like, that was, like, the original speakeasy. Like, I know that I'd be a person that knew where all the speakeasies are. Wow, okay, I'm a ball hog. Here's the thing, and this is something that came up when I was watching The Last Dance. Um, you give you give your ball to the stars. With Caitlin Clark being off the court this season, that's Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, um, they're the 2 main stars, and, Sophie had a hot hand for a while. I'm talking offensively. And Kelsey Mitchell is one of the only players that can create her own shot on the team. So, you kind of have to feed the hot like, you have to feed it to your stars. Like, that's what they did with Jordan whenever they took the ball out of Jordan's hand, like, it's like they didn't do the same thing. And, once Caitlin gets back on the court, it's gonna go back to her. They're gonna run the ball through her. And her and Kelsey Mitchell last season, they were like the number 1 backcourt duo in the last half of last season. And I think she should be all W this year. Go Kelsey Mitchell. How do you think Paige did when she faced CC style defense? Citron did much better playing without a non-UConn whistle. Yeah, I think Paige Beckers is a great player. I'm not gonna say, like, anything that bad about her, except that, um, she definitely got blitzed a lot this season. I don't think, that any player is covered like Caitlin Clark. I don't think that any player is covered with as much, like, chutzpah behind the intent as Caitlin Clark, because I think Paige Beckers, like, she gets along with more of the players. More of the players like her because she fits into that, ecosystem, that, like, WNBA basketball ecosystem, and I think that they went easier on her. I think that Sonia Citron, man, it's hard to say who's better, Paige or Sonia, because they're both good in different ways, you know? Paige's Paige's teams, like, the reason they sucked so bad, I think, is because of the coach. All right, I'm looking for question marks, looking for question marks. Okay, let's see. That's a question mark. A couple of months ago, I posted a harsh comment on Mixed Channel after he was really beating on a particular player, and I feel really bad about my comment. What's the best way to apologize? Um, just say that, you know? He probably reads some of his comments too. Um, yeah, I don't like berating. I definitely think that you should call players out though. Like, sometimes Kelsey Mitchell, the beginning of last season, she drove me crazy. She drove me so crazy with the dribble, 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 dribble. There's regressions I've seen, and in the beginning of this season, I saw a few regressions I did not really like from Kelsey, and we should be able to call a player out without berating them, because you're just disingenuous if you can't talk about a player's negative side. Like, sometimes there's things I see in Caitlin Clark that I think she could clean up. She's definitely got room to clean some stuff up, but nobody does what she does either. Coach of the year, Natalie Nakase. But Carl Smesko, he's got a really, really, really good case. And just last night in their win, he became the best first year WNBA coach with 29 wins. Like, no other first year WNBA coach has had as many wins as him. And just so you guys know, he took a D2 team in college, the Florida Gulf Coast team. They were a D2 team. They ended up like qualifying and becoming a D1 team. And then he became the fourth most winningest coach in college basketball. So Carl Smesko, like, he is no slouch. Rosie, a 1920s flapper? Yes. I mean, I don't know. I love the style. I love the like glitter and the glitz. Even though I'm not a real glittery person. Um, I just love it. I love it all. The speakeasies, the music. Okay. Brian June. What's going wrong with the Liberty, and do you think they can still make the finals? Was signing Emma a mistake? All right. It's crazy. I keep asking myself the same question. What is going on with the Liberty? It's crazy to think that Emma Miesemann came in and isn't doing the things that everybody expected her to do. Now, she hasn't had time to develop chemistry with this team. Defensively, it almost seems like she's washed. I can't even explain it. Sorry, I keep having a hair, like stray hair going onto my lip. Defensively, it almost seems like she's washed. I don't even know what I'm seeing. I don't know Emma Miesemann's game really well because I haven't watched a lot of like overseas basketball. When I looked into Emma Miesemann, I watched like the I watched her in Eurobasket this year with Julie Van Loo and Julie Alleman. But yeah, I don't know. I looked her she's one of the most accoladed players. I don't know, like, what's going on. But a lot of people a lot of Liberty fans are ready to fire Sandy Brondello. And as much as I like Sandy, I don't see what she brings to the table in a coaching perspective. I think she gets outcoached a lot. Um, and I live in New York. I would love the Liberty to go to the finals because then I could go to the finals like I did last season. I went to like 2 or 3 of the finals games last year. No, 2, I think. 2 of the finals games last year. But I don't know. I mean, they're finally healthy. No injuries to report on the roster, so we'll see how they do because everyone keeps saying it's because they're unhealthy, but they have so many stars that I don't think that they have room to make that excuse anymore. They have a bench. They have the best bench in the W. They have a leg up on the way that the roster construction was built. They have a leg up on every other team. Whoa, something happened to my computer. Scott Webb coming in hot. What people on the bench, even hurt, would you like to see back on the Fever next season? Caitlin Clark. Duh. Okay. I would like to see Sophie come back. She She wasn't shooting very well at the beginning of the season, but that was because she was coming back from an ankle injury because I used to watch her on the Phoenix Mercury and I watched her start coming off the bench and then I watched her get a starting position on the Phoenix Mercury very often. And she does those like spot up three-point shots really well. I like she has a very fun vibe and like the culture that she brings. I also think another player that matches the vibe and culture is Aerial Powers. Now, the only thing about Aerial Powers is that I don't think that she's like the best. I think that she's proven to be a pretty like gritty rebounder. She takes a lot of time to process her plays like when she gets the ball. I think that she doesn't necessarily pass the best, and then her dribble is so wonky, it's hard for me to watch her go coast to coast with that dribble, but somehow she puts up some decent stats, and it's kinda crazy because she's been a pretty solid player for the Fever, Aerial Powers, and I love the vibe that she brings to the team. It's, like, very the vibe that her and Sophie have, they have these, like, they glow. They're, like, glowing types of people, and that's such a good thing for the locker room. So, I wouldn't be mad if she came back next season, but I'm not sold on her basketball yet. But I definitely want Aerie to come back. That's who I want to come back, number 1 player from the hardship players. Gosh, Brian, you seem to have a lot of questions. But hey, I'm not stopping you here. Do you think because of the, time difference, Mick might cr might be crash out from sleep deprivation? You know, sometimes I think Mick needs to go out in the sun because I don't know how this man does what he does. He has to be the hardest working podcaster, like, in the business. He literally will just make a video from anywhere. And yes, I think sleep deprivation probably has a lot to do with it. D-Rod, Rosie, is the Aura health tracking ring on your right hand? If yes, how do you like it? It's really helped me manage my sleep and exercise activity. Yes, this is I was gonna show you guys, but that's the wrong finger. This is an Aura ring. I did get it because I have terrible sleep issues, like terrible, terrible, terrible. It's very hard for me to shut my brain off at night. So I've been trying to manage my sleep. And also now that I do this, it's been harder to be as active as I used to be. And because I also do the writing for on SI and stuff. So it's helped me a little bit, but I think I really need to put a little more effort myself into shutting my brain off at night and like maybe meditating or I don't know. I don't know what you guys do to fall asleep, but I have ever since I was a kid, I've had really bad sleep issues. I used to think we were gonna get robbed every night. I know that sounds crazy, but I used to think that we were gonna get robbed every night. That was my fear. Rosalina, Dijonay is also ruled out for today's game. Is that positive a factor for the Fever too? Is that a positive factor, do you mean? Probably. I mean, she's a pretty pesky defender. I don't like when she steals a lot. Um, but it's crazy because I didn't realize she was ruled out because she also did not play in the last Indiana Fever game. Which is kinda weird, but I think that what they're doing is everyone's resting their players for the playoffs. I wonder if they're gonna rest Kelsey Mitchell, to be honest. They're probably gonna rest her for a lot of the game. Brian June, sorry. I saw somebody else named Jason. What makes you take Aerie over Odyssey? Um, Odyssey sometimes drives me crazy. Like, it's hard to explain, but she's not very fast. Area's speed is 100% Aerie over Odyssey. I think that Aerie has the ability to, pass better than Odyssey does. Aerie's a better defender than Odyssey is. And I'm not sure about how, like, what their shot percentages are. I'd have to actually look at that. But because of those reasons, like, I really pick Aerie over Odyssey, like, hands down. Defense she's a better defender, she's faster. I think that her style matches better with Caitlin's style, and when Caitlin's back, make no mistake, they're gonna plan everything around Caitlin. Captain Caveman! I'll probably see you later, I know. Rosie, I will ask the rude question. Oh, yeah, that is a rude question. What do you guys think? I'm gonna leave that mysterious. There's a lot, I don't even make my Instagram public because there's a lot about my life that I don't know, I like to have, like, a personal life, you know? 45, wow. Alright, I will give you a hint. I'm not in my 20s. That is so sweet, though. Who do you like alright, what do you like on your pizza and hot dogs? Ooh, I used to hate hot dogs when I was a kid. I like them now, though. Um When I was a kid, my favorite topping on a pizza was pineapple. I know. I know. I know. Now I love jalapenos on pineapple. Hot dogs, though. Okay, I love a wiener schnitzel double cheese chili dog. I love a wiener schnitzel double cheese chili dog. That's my favorite. Zach, I saw that. I saw your comment today. Zach Minger always coming in with a happy national whatever you eat for the day. Yeah, see, this is Odyssey Sims is deficient in court vision. Could be an integration with the fever teammates' tendencies. Yeah, I think Odyssey Sims is pretty she's decent, but I that's it. I mean, no shade. She's had some great games with the fever, but I'm not wowed. Wait. This is my girl. Gabby Williams needs 3 more steals to break the season record set by Weatherspoon in 1998. Dang, I didn't know that. Wow. Gabby's great. You know who else actually is better at steals than Gabby, but she hasn't played the whole season, is Layla Lacan. Layla Lacan is awesome. She just came in, like, mid-season, so she doesn't qualify. She actually has more steals per game. She averages more steals per game than Gabby. Alright, you guys, I cannot believe how long we've had this going on, but, I'm gonna cut this here because I actually started this I thought we were gonna do 30 minutes, and we have gone an hour and 16 minutes. Oh, you guys, I feel like I should keep that a mystery. Oh, Gary, you alright, you get a question. What position did you play when you were playing basketball? What position do you think? Actually, I played shooting guard. Okay, I'm going to cut this short here. This has been really fun, actually. Um, More for the members. I know that a lot of you guys kept asking me this, and I know it was going to be kind of a chill day today. The season's winding down, but we do have a live coming up. We have a live coming up at 7:30 because the Fever are playing the Minnesota Lynx, and I will be here. Oh, we're having more super chats. Oh, actually, and if you can please hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. I'll give you guys another 30 to 1 minute to hit the like button cuz run those likes up and help that algorithm. And Renee coming in. What's your day job? You're an amazing broadcaster and an entertainer. Also, huge thanks for keeping the viewing parties so relaxed and fun. I always learn so much about the fever from you. Thank you so much. This is my job. This is actually so what I did was I I freelance video like film and video stuff, and I decided to take a year to figure out if this was something that I wanted to pursue, and I put a lot of energy into it, and it was going really, really well, for a while, and then, I have to admit, Caitlin Clark's injury definitely hurt a lot, and it makes me wonder if I can actually keep doing this. But a lot of really amazing things happened and manifested from this season of me doing this. And I launched this channel in January, and I've gotten reached out to by a lot of people. I was able to get media credentials by meeting Robin and, starting to write for him. And Robin's been great too. I was never a journalist before, but I submitted, like, a bunch of test articles, and that's how I started writing. I've written other stuff, but I never wrote news or journalism before, and so, that's been an amazing experience just to actually be a part of something that I was never a part of, but I have the mentality that you can do anything you wanna do in this life if you put enough energy and effort behind it. So, I put a lot of energy into this, and, I'm hoping that it's something that I can continue because it to do this, it takes a lot of work, you know? It takes a lot of, like, going online and reading, and I read all day. Like, my eyes hurt by the end of the day because I'm just looking at stuff all day and looking for new stuff, and to create the content that I create for you guys, like, my videos, like, not the lives, but my videos, they take about 3 hours to create, so because I wanna give you guys a polished product. I wanna give you guys something that is a little different from other content creators, and so I add a little bit of production value into it because that's what I know how to do. And sorry, this is me talking about myself a whole bunch now. But, yeah, I don't know. Wait, hang on. Well, I did cover Unrivaled last season, and I am not gonna lie. Some of those games were hard to watch. It was a brick fest. If Unrivaled went 4v4, God, that would be so much more fun to watch. But I have to say, from an entertainment perspective, there were a few games that were super fun. A lot of them were very hard to watch, but I watched it for just to see how the players would develop. That's and I'm very interested in player development, so I kept up with it. I really appreciate this comment. We appreciate all that you do. It's why we are here. Thank you. Oh, you read that? That's so nice. I did write an article about Unrivaled for SI. Yeah, thanks, Tulip. I first saw your content when Unrivaled started and you did the recaps. Those were fire. Yeah, so I was working in a different program. I edit in Premiere, and then I started using a different program, which is what I use now. And there's a lot of, gives and takes for each program, but anyway, I'm going to go now. Frank, I'll see you later too. Aw, this went very well. I appreciate it. Anyway, I'm cutting this short. I just keep talking. You guys keep me talking. I can talk all day actually, but I am gonna cut it off. Thank you so much for joining me. And actually, hang on a sec. Let me just hide this comment. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be going live at 7:30 if you do want to come back. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you want. I do release videos a few times a week, so they're very different than the lives. Um, Stop by if you want, and I hope to see you guys at 7:30.